welcome to another Soccer Over There, live from the Brewhouse Cafe in Atlanta's Little 5 Points, August 26th, and there are about 11 billion different things on the soccer planet to talk about tonight. Jason Longshore, John Nelson here with you. Nick Leafy is stuck in traffic somewhere in Metro Atlanta.
Yeah, so he says. He claims.
I believe him. I mean, traffic kind of stinks as we look out of outside the patio here at the Brewhouse. Just had a typical August late afternoon rain shower.
Yeah, which one of us got caught in it?
Probably both of us, because it was pouring on my way over here, and I have the shortest drive.
Yeah, and I was the one that was actually physically outside the automobile in question, as I got caught in the heavy part. When you walk a dog and the dog decides, okay, I'm going to take my own sweet time to do things, especially as the rain continues to get up and up and up and up and up, then that's what's going to go down. And so naturally, that's what happened. I got caught in the rain with a dog.
That's always fun. We're going to make a little bit of room while we're on the fly as traffic subsided for our friend Mr. Leafy to arrive. He will find a chair. And we're going to set the agenda a little bit tonight as we have a lot of different things we're going to get into. And if you guys out there listening live have things you want us to get into, we will do that as we wrap the show up. Send the questions in to SOC, S-O-C, over there. You can tag Soccer down here. You can tag Longshoe. You can tag Nick Leafy. You can tag OSG Nelson. You can tag everybody you want to see this.
Yes.
And we will get into as much of it as possible. We will have another edition of Mondays with Reddit because, that's going to happen.
Mondays with Reddit.
We need a better theme song, but we'll work on it. We're going to get into the Premier League and Tottenham.
My first words coming out of the show today are going to be blah.
Yeah, that was Tottenham. That was bad.
It just wasn't good.
No, it wasn't.
We're going to get Nick's thoughts on the opening weekend of Serie A.
Oh, there's so many thoughts.
There's a lot.
Oh, my God, there were so many thoughts. It's very painful thoughts, but they're there.
Lots of thoughts. We're going to get into the upcoming Thunderdome in Argentina, which actually gets started this weekend with Boca and River facing off in league play on Sunday. That's going to be a nice taster for what's looking obvious at this point, unless there's some crazy results in the second leg. A Boca River Copa Libertadores rematch in the semifinal, and it will be over 2 legs. We have no idea where those legs will be played. One could be in Gibraltar, one could be in Madagascar. I don't know.
Kazakhstan.
We'll get into the Bolton and Bury stuff. We'll get into anything else that comes up, because sometimes that happens on this show. But we're going to start with the U.S. Open Cup, because there is a U.S. Open Cup final coming to Atlanta tomorrow evening, and I want to ask you guys this, because I've been talking about this all day. How important is a cup final in general? Let's not talk about in the United States, but just as you guys follow the game around the world and different leagues, I think the cup final has different levels of importance. How important is it typically around the world to be in this match?
I will say that this, and we've talked about it a little before, this is the match to me that I think we have to win. This, if we came out of this season and let's say that there was some kind of error, foul up, whatever you want to call it, in the playoffs, this is one thing that you could go back and say, all right, we won MLS Cup last year. We got a U.S. Open Cup this year. We're okay with a little bit of a rebuild that would prevent a back-to-back on an MLS Cup win. I'm okay with that, but I think this is one thing that if you walk away from this a winner, that it's a moon landing for MLS clubs. It's a planting of the flag, and it says that we are approaching things at a different level than everyone else. And in my opinion, I did not say this about the Campeones Cup, but I am saying about Open Cup, it's an absolute must-win. Even if you have to do heavy rotation this coming weekend, I think this is one you have to go for.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big difference between a Campeones Cup-style match and an Open Cup or FA Cup or Coppa Italia or Copa del Rey or whatever you want to compare it to. Campione's Cup is a super cup. It's a community shield. It's a nice trophy. It's a good one. It looks nice. You want to have that. Arthur Blank likes shiny things.
Yes.
He wants them in the trophy case.
Yes.
But the Open Cup is a real accomplishment. It's a different level.
And you hope that this run, and with what ESPN is doing and making all the coverage available, short of certain things that they're not being made
I'm
available.
not going to complain about it, I promise. I'm not going to complain about it. I've done that enough.
What they have done to elevate the Open Cup in their coverage has been tremendous. There are still some things that should be done.
I'm not going to complain about it, I promise. I'm not going to complain about it.
Are you sure?
I promise. Not going to complain about it.
He's here just so he won't get fined.
That's it?
Yeah, he's gone Marshawn Lynch with this
Wait a minute,
answer.
I might get fined? That's not cool.
That's the statement that we're going with
That's your
now?
Marshawn Lynch answer to that particular element.
On this show, am I allowed to complain? Can I complain at least?
Certainly.
About ESPN?
Sure.
It's
Go
your
ahead.
show.
Can we do this?
It's
Go
your
ahead.
show.
thing
You're
is,
the one
I
with the
don't
Twitter
know
handle.
Who's connected to what? That's the thing. Is I always try to respect relationships, and I don't know who's connected to what, but I think that ESPN should allow local broadcast teams, and I'm saying this because I don't make a dime off it, they should allow local broadcast teams to do radio coverage. If your radio product is garbage and you're not going to put it out there for everyone for mass consumption or make it known, hey, here's where you go to listen to it, via the radio waves, let the locals do it. Just step out of the way and let them do it. I'll complain about that. I think I'm justified on this.
I will give ESPN a lot of credit for investing in this tournament.
No doubt.
And it reminds me, and I said this to Dukes and Bell this afternoon on 92.9, it reminds me of the early days of ESPN and the NCAA basketball tournament, where they saw what it could be. They put it on the air. They had those early round games that nobody ever broadcast, and that's really how they made their college basketball name. That's great. I love that. I love what they did for the early round games in this tournament. Now, I think, and I don't know if it's U.S. Soccer, ESPN, both, whatever, I think they kind of missed an opportunity to continue to blow the tournament up.
No question.
By having local radio coverage.
No doubt.
It would have added to it. It wouldn't have taken away subscribers of ESPN Plus. I would have talked about ESPN Plus every 5 minutes during the broadcast anyway if I needed to. It's all good.
Yeah.
I feel like we do that on our shows anyway.
Pretty much. As those who all subscribe to the service.
Yes. It would have added to the tournament, which would have added to the value of the property, which they have lock, stock, and barrel. So I would be willing to assume that there will be conversations afterwards about the opportunity going forward, and I hope that this year is kind of a new era for the Open Cup, and this coverage is part of it, and I hope in the future it includes local radio.
All right, so let's go ahead and get to the game, because I don't know about you guys, but after this past weekend with Atlanta United's super win down in Orlando, with the humidity, with the stress, this, to me, if I'm a juice box purveyor, this has letdown game written all over.
Ooh, the juice box purveyors completely and utterly disagree with you.
Minus 223 for Atlanta United right
Fair.
now, courtesy of our friends at Bet365, plus 600 for Minnesota United.
Well, if you go with
That's regulation time.
That's
right?
regulation.
Okay.
if you go with Vegas most of the time, you're not going to make a lot of money. Sometimes you got to go on the edge, guys.
Oh, so you're breaking the Kiwi juice box out.
All I'm saying is I have the Kiwi juice box prepared. It's ready to go. I'm suggesting that Atlanta United must score in the first 20 minutes. If they score in the first 20 minutes, lights out. It's
I
a
agree.
wrap.
Yeah.
I agree with that part, yeah.
But if you let Minnesota hang around at all, it's going to be problematic because that's where the tired legs are going to come into play. The news coming out of the training ground where only Breck Shea, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, was
Correct.
the only one who was
Yes,
not able to train.
because he's
Right.
somewhat unable to at the moment.
Somewhat unable to with a bionic leg at the moment.
There's that.
So does that mean that Kevin Kratz practiced today?
He did, but he is not going to be available tomorrow. He'll be playing with the twos on Wednesday.
Okay.
Bello will be with the twos. Ambrose will be with the twos. and Dion Pereira will not be on the roster for the game day because of the international rule, which surprised me because I thought that would be Franco Escobar or Eric Remetti. But Escobar training today and being in the game day roster, I would expect that he's going to contribute in some form or fashion tomorrow then.
I certainly hope so. But if you're an Atlanta fan, you have to feel very good about that. The fact that for the first time really all season, you have everyone available to train. But I will say that with the way that the scheduling has worked out, it needs to happen very quickly for Atlanta United.
And Minnesota, I believe, has 8 internationals for 5 spots, and so I think it's a tough question for them to figure out who isn't going to be participating in the match tomorrow. I think that's going to be one of the big questions that I think they brought 21, if I remember looking at the media that is social.
24.
24?
Yeah, it's a cool reward for the roster. I mean, that's great work by Minnesota United. And it shows the value of this match. I mean, it's a big night for Minnesota United as a club. So reward everybody on that roster, even the guys who aren't going to be part of it. Bring them down. Have them part of the experience. That is taking this event seriously, and I love it.
One thing that I do want to cover here is that remember last year and the year before when Minnesota was clowned by everyone in the league, and they stuck to their guns, and they said, we are not going to go nuts. We're not going to spend like madmen. We're going to build this roster slow and steady, and we will find incremental success. In my opinion, Minnesota is right on schedule.
After they got past the Scandinavian variant to start things off.
Yeah.
So, they made some mistakes year 1 that slowed the process down, but they weren't going to spend big until they got closer to year 3 when the stadium was going to open. Darwin Quintero, early last season, became available. They pulled the trigger. Good signing.
Yep.
This year, Ike Oparo, Osvaldo Alonso, Jan Gregus, Roman Metzener, all big signings.
And if you... And I'm not going to clown on them. This is just a point of order. If you're Orlando and you're watching the 2 newer teams in the league have this kind of success, and you can't find success in U.S. Open Cup, you haven't been able to make the playoffs, you haven't been able to find any sort of consistent success, at some point, and I get, and Jason, feel free to chime in on this because I feel like I'm going to go into Neverland on this tape. I'm telling you guys, it's 3 years. I've said it on DM. I've said it somewhat publicly to some people.
This has been a theory of Nicolifi's,
This is
yes.
a theory of mine that I've been running with, and that is I think Orlando City has 3 years left in that town before they get moved. I just don't think that the team is sustainable down there. I don't think ownership is committed. There's been conversations that the ownership wants to get out at some point and sell the team for profit, which would be good for them, I suppose.
And he wants to go into a living of giving back.
And that's great. Good for him. But that fan base, you can only have so much sustained losing before it has direct effect on your bottom line. And
It's true.
And if you are MLS and you're watching those numbers plummet and the right owner comes in and says, hey, I'm thinking about moving the team, and if you're the fan base who's looked and said Minnesota United has found their way, stumbled their way, clawed their way, sprinted their way into the Open Cup final, Atlanta United, call it plastic, call it whatever you want, call it bought, not built, I don't care. They won an MLS Cup, they won a Campeones Cup, and now they're in the U.S. Open Cup final. What do you have to do as an organization? Because there's no easy fix. You're saddled with bad contracts.
Not as many now. I think they've gotten out from under some. I think they made progress this year. I think Luis Muzzi coming in from Dallas has helped.
Yep.
Nani was a good signing.
I think Nani was a good signing.
I do too. I think it was a good move to bring in Nani. I think it was a great move to bring in Mauricio Pereira on a free out of the Russian league. It's a good piece of business. It's going to take him a minute to get it underway here. Benji Michel, homegrown signing, finally starting to get a couple of those going. I think Michel could be a promising guy. Mueller's a talented young player. That was a good draft pick.
Absolutely. He has star written all over him.
Robin Janssen, Lamine Sané, your center backs, good situation. Wuan, good pickup. Injured in this one, that hurt them big time on the weekend. I don't think they're that far off from being a playoff team. And I think then the next step is getting the fans back on your side, because 4 years of bad, worse, even worse, and oh my God, our defense can't stop anything, has led people to look at everything with a side eye. And I get it. I can't really blame the Orlando fan base at all.
No.
And I think it's going to take a little bit of sustained winning and a playoff appearance to get them back. And I think they can get that.
But let's follow the track here and say that the ownership does decide to go into this great life of philanthropy and giving back. There's not going to be a Save the Lions movement. There's not going to be Keep Orlando Purple movement league-wide.
Not league-wide.
Not league-wide. And so whatever's going to happen, I think, needs to happen sooner rather than later. I still believe that it's as insurmountable as it may seem, that Orlando could theoretically, they could find their way back into this. If the right things fall their way, and it would have to be, I mean, guys, stranger things have happened.
They can make the playoffs this year. They're not done.
Yeah. No doubt.
There seems to be a mental block on this team that they're going to have to overcome. I don't know if O'Connor's the guy to do it, but they need to have a players-only meeting. They need to call in some local kids to come scream at him for a little bit, something. Call a priest, bring holy water, douse the locker room down, douse all the field. I mean, get some splinters from...
have a funeral pyre of purity?
Cathedral of Notre Dame splinters, whatever. Bury it in the field. You got to do something to get the shake the demons from your own stadium.
Wow.
You can't. You're blocking yourself.
It's got really dark.
No, because even the fans are like, we are not playing Atlanta United. We are playing a team that is going to be in front of us that just so happens to wear red and black. I mean, you're at that point. And I know that last year for the MLS Cup run, Atlanta fans, we got really dark. But, I mean, we're trying to exorcise the demons of this city. But, man alive, Orlando's got to do something. Because you can't watch Atlanta and Minnesota competing against each other for the oldest trophy in U.S. soccer and not sit there and think, that should be us. There's no reason in the world why that shouldn't be us unless we had the Cleveland Browns of American soccer running our franchise.
How do you have an athletic exorcism? How do you have one of those?
Okay, so the first thing you do, there's
live
a process.
chicken?
There's a process. You have to have a live chicken.
Okay.
You have to have a live chicken. PETA, I don't want PETA blowing up my mention, so we're not going to really talk about what happens to that piece of livestock. But I can tell you, if you talk to our friends in Iraq, you talk to our friends in the Middle East, they will tell you exactly what needs to be done. A goat may need to be involved. I'm just saying there's stuff that can happen, John. We can, if they want to call me up, I'll offer some free consultation.
They're only 3 points out.
But it's a monumental 3 points. I mean, it's a monumental 3 points. Their upcoming schedule is not going to be one that's going to be particularly easy.
Okay, let me ask you this. So before we move on to Tottenham's bad day.
Yeah.
The Eastern Conference. Atlanta, Philadelphia, NYC, 48, 48, 47.
Yep.
Red Bulls, 41. DC, 39. New England, 38. Toronto, 37. Then Gap. Montreal, Orlando, 34. Chicago, 33. Chicago's only got 5 games left. Who misses out on the postseason?
DC.
You think DC, really?
Yeah.
They only have 5 games left as well.
I just don't think that DC has the mentality right now. I think when Rooney announced that he was going back to England, I feel like they had found their talisman. They found the person who had a history of sustained success, who could overcome Ben Olsen's vanillizing the team, who, I don't know what it is. Sometimes Olsen produces a game plan that it's like, where in God's name did he pull this out?
Yeah, I kind of like Benny.
But there's some times that it's like, if you took Boy Scout Troop 773 and trotted them out on the field, I'm pretty sure that it would be a competitive game. So I just don't think that Olsen necessarily is a guy who's going to inspire that team to victory, and I thought Wayne Rooney did that. And now that he said, hey, guys, hate it for you, end of the season, hell or high water, I'm going home. The missus has screamed, yelled, and threatened lawyers, so I'm going out. And
she might still be threatening lawyers from what we're reading.
Yeah. So if you believe English tabloids, Sir Rooney has found himself in a spot of trouble.
In
a spot of bother, as you say.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you consult the Mirror newspaper and trust it for what it is,
Yes.
complete with photographs.
Oh no!
Yeah, there's
Oh
photographs.
no!
Mirror had photographs, and then they also had the assimilated photograph of Colleen leaving the house running errands without wearing her wedding ring.
Yeah.
Always that shot.
So, number one, shout out to English tabloids for being that connected. Like, hey, where's Colleen right now? Colleen's at the house. Why? Okay, so we are at a hotel, and we see Wayne Rooney wearing a hoodie, a woman wearing a rather nice outfit and with a sleeve of tattoos, who's not Colleen.
No. Her name may be Colleen, but it is not Colleen Rooney.
It is not Colleen Rooney. And so can we get a 20 on her really quick? Oh, wait, no, she's leaving. Does she have her wedding ring on? No, she does not have her wedding ring on. Okay, run story. Print. Wayne is in a dark place right now.
Go get it right, Wayne.
He's not going to get it right, though. I don't think he's going to get it right.
I'm fingers crossed for
I hope
Wayne.
he does. But the guy, we're talking about a guy who in his 20s had to get hair plugs because he was getting just massacred in the media. Like, oh, he's losing his hair. He's losing, you know what's wrong. All the pressure in the world was on this kid. And he was supposed to be the guy who was going to lead England to glory. Well, along with that quote-unquote golden generation, couldn't get it done. He was supposed to lead Man U to swifter, higher, faster, farther. And he had some success.
Maybe 2 of the 5.
Yeah. But all in all, if you are in England, are you viewing Wayne Rooney as like a guy who fulfilled the prophecy? Which, I mean, who could really fulfill the prophecy?
Kind of sadly, you're not. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of sad because how many league titles did he win? A ton.
Yeah.
He won a Champions League.
Yep.
Didn't have the success with the national team, but nobody in that era did.
No.
What more can the guy do?
But that's the thing, though, is that I think he's having trouble recognizing that the end is now. Not soon, now. And I don't know if he knows how to be I don't know if he knows how to be a normal guy. Like, I don't know if he knows how to, like, he's going to coach, but he's going to be a player coach. I don't think he knows how to be a normal guy, and he's going to have that sort of what NFL players, when they miss the huddle and they miss the guys. I think he's about to hit that, and he's doing what he feels like he needs to do to maintain that lifestyle, that fame and fortune, and that sometimes involves taking scandalous ladies into hotels.
Sojourns in countries not your own.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think with Luciano Acosta's situation as well, DC's just a bit of a mess. They would be one that could miss out. New England, there's definitely questions about how they finish, although that was a big win over Chicago on the weekend. I do think Orlando can get there. I really do.
Yeah.
But who falls out, DC would be the one that you're probably keeping the most eyes on.
Yep.
And why have you not pulled the trigger on Yamil Assad if you're DC? You have the right. Something.
I don't know. It's got to be the ask. It's got to be the amount of money. There's got to be something off.
Yamil needs to fire his agent.
I'm leaning in that direction.
Because if you're Yamil Assad and you're sitting around right now in Argentina like...
Dog.
Yeah. Guys, has anybody called for me? Well, DC may have called, but we think you're worth more. Guys, I've been sitting here for a while. I'm not doing anything. I mean, you got to fire your agent, Yamil. Fire your agent, call me up. I have no certifications. I have no paperwork that distinguishes me as a certified agent, but I'm willing to
Leonardo Jara has no representation either.
There we go. I'm willing to act on your behalf, sir. We will get a deal done. We'll get you back in MLS. We're going to make a ton off of your rights fees, especially here in Atlanta, no matter where you play. And we're going to get a deal done, Yamil. Call me, baby.
All right, so before we get into the Tottenham discussion,
Okay.
Premier League related.
Okay.
Name the 3 teams in the relegation zone right now.
Oh, I have no idea. It's probably 3 teams that won't be there at the end.
2 of the 3.
Okay.
In 18th, Southampton,
Okay.
Okay.
goal difference. 19th, Newcastle, which ties into our story that we're going to get into in a sec. Watford, 0-3 out of the blocks.
Okay.
Yeah, losing to West Ham 3-1 is not exactly going to move you up in the table very quickly. But as we get into Newcastle and Spurs,
Joe Patrick is screaming right now.
well, there was nothing about that team that looked threatening to me. There was nothing about the Spurs. You could say they should have had a penalty. They should have had a penalty.
They should have had a penalty.
They should have.
Should have had a penalty.
They maybe should have had 2, but they definitely should have had 1.
They should have had 1. And we'll get into that. But I'm not terrified for Spurs because I think that they are a team who can put it together. And when it happens, it's going to happen quickly. But the Premier League is one of those leagues where there's not a ton of time for you to course correct because the teams can start building leads very quickly. And as you get into schedule compression, you may be able to find and gain points here and there, but I'm not terribly worried yet. I'm not ready to hit the panic button on them at this point.
Here's my question, though.
Okay.
Can they get to those places without Christian Eriksen? Because it feels like he's not going to be there.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't think there's anything about them that is all that threatening in terms of chances being created if he's not there.
Right.
That's my concern.
But Pochettino's a manager who I think can overcome that.
I agree. I like Pochettino a lot.
Yeah.
I think he's a guy who can help guide a team. Like, there's going to be a learning curve, for sure. But if there's a manager out there that I have to say, okay, this guy can figure it out. This guy can help this team make some sort of patchwork thing work. Rafa Benitez would be one guy who could do it because he's done it consistently. I believe Pochettino's another guy who can do it. I think that he can engineer something, but he needs time to get it done.
And considering how he built Tottenham under the general premise of Daniel Levy not spending money and Pochettino building from within, you would think that there is that pipeline, the wish list. There's the names on the dry erase board inside the deep, dark confines of an office someplace.
Yeah.
That flow chart is there.
It is.
I just want to see what it looks like if Christian Eriksen is not around.
It's a mountain. I mean, it's a mountain for sure. Christian Eriksen, I mean, there's a reason why there are 3 guys sitting at Brewhouse Cafe right now repeating his name over and over again. The guy's a difference maker. But to your point, if there's any manager out there who has been told, hey, Chief, handle it on your own because there's no money coming to save you, it's him. It's Pochettino. And I think he's going to be okay. I really do. But they have to, by hook or by crook, find a way to be more dangerous than they were this past weekend. But give Newcastle some credit. I mean, I don't like Steve Bruce. I think Bruce is a guy who probably should have been relegated to the pub leagues a long time ago. But I will say that Newcastle look dangerous. I mean, they transitioned quickly. Miguel firing shots over the goal, but they were a dangerous side, and you have to contend for that.
You saw what they saw in Joel Linton, who has become a fantasy darling. Always picked at the end of fantasy. Every fantasy draft I've seen, Joel Linton was picked toward the tail end.
Because Newcastle ain't scoring a whole lot of goals.
Well, no, they're not. No, they're not going to score a lot of goals, but they're going to be that team, a typical Premier League, like upper relegation zone team, which will fight like hell, and they're not going to get out of that high out of the relegation zone, but they are going to be good enough and trouble enough.
So you think so? You think they're going to stay? You think they're staying up?
No, I think they're going to be a team that's going to be problematic, and they'll pull out a performance like this every 6 or 7 games that will keep them right by the relegation zone. But I think they're going down. I don't think it's a performance that they can do consistently enough to stay up. And I hope to God Miguel Almirón's agent included the relegation clause in the contract. And if he didn't, Miguel, call me. Because that's a problem, right? I mean, that's something that all players theoretically should have when they sign these deals. Not every agent does it.
No, so going in, I had Southampton and I had Villa, and I was waiting for a third, and Newcastle has become my third right now.
I thought that you had Brighton, not Villa.
That's true. You're right.
Yeah, Villa should stay up.
Brighton with a lack of offense, I just don't see it. But they've shown more offense than I thought they had.
Yeah, I think Villa will stay up. I'm not as concerned about them. We'll see what happens, but Newcastle, I don't think you're going to stay up playing this way. I don't think it's going to happen, and I don't know what else they really have. You know, I mean, this whole conversation about Miguel Almirón's a forward, and why is he dropping back? Well, if you think he's a forward, I don't know what you're smoking.
Well, it appears to me that these are people who have not watched minute one of his time with Atlanta United.
I think these were former England internationals as well.
Okay, good. So essentially what you're telling me is you were watching Jurassic Park, and the T-Rex broke through the fence and tumped a Ford Explorer over.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Look, you can have a nice, wonderful, memorable name, and you can get yourself a nice fat deal with Sky or with NBC or whoever you want, and you can go make you some mighty fine money sitting there and running your mouth about sports. And I salute you if you do it. But that doesn't mean that you or your opinion are worth anything. So if you are sitting there saying that Miguel Almirón's a forward, he should stay forward, why is he dropping back, what is he doing? Splish splash, your opinion is trash. And you clearly have done zero homework in your preparation for watching Newcastle play.
Has Steve Bruce done that homework, though?
No.
That's my concern.
No, absolutely not. No. Look, Mike Ashley sat around and said, hey, Rafa, we're going to let you go, Chief. You got it. We're not going to – this isn't going to happen. It's not working. We will say that we mutually parted ways, whatever you want to say, but it's done. I've got Blu-ray discs, and that I have to move out to get my my projector TVs in. And so
they're coming back.
They're coming back. Projector TVs in standard def. That's going to be all the rage. You just wait. And he sat around and probably waited for managers to call him and say, hey, I'm ready. And he probably got 3 calls, and that's Steve Bruce, Big Sam, and,
Pardue?
Not Pardue. I would say Timmy from the Brighton pub called him up and said, I'll take the job as well. So,
is that Tim Westwood?
Yeah, probably so. I would say that. And so you ended up picking what you thought was the best option, which was Bruce, and he can keep my boys up, and it's not going to happen. And what's sad is that when they fall, it's going to be like dinosaur killing asteroid. It's going to be just a cataclysmic plummet, because they're going to be the new Sunderland, and it's going to suck. And that they deserve more than that.
You know what scares me is they're going to be the new Bolton. That's what really scares me is that they're going to have that type of plummet. And, I mean, we're seeing it with a club like Bolton, who not that long ago was in the Premier League.
For 12 years.
They were there. I mean, not there as long as Newcastle has been, but they were there. They were a stalwart of the Premier League. Yep. And when they fell hard. And now they might be falling completely into bankruptcy and be playing as a liquidated club somehow. Like Newcastle with Mike Ashley behind the helm, like that's what it feels like could be on the course for them.
And when you see what Ashley has done, I think that Steve Bruce was, how do we phrase it, financially viable as a manager.
Correct.
And selling him on the notion of, hey, you get to come home for your boyhood club, you get to manage that group, hey, here's your deal, considering how many, it's his 11th EFL job, 13th EFL job, I've lost count. Somewhere, it's over 10 and not quite 15. It's either 11 or 13. It's one of those prime numbers.
But this is the problem with the Premier League, in my opinion. And everybody, I get it, it's the best. It's the SEC of soccer. It just means more. But you have these middle and lower level clubs that refuse to be patient and build with a newer manager, like a younger manager, younger players. Instead, we're going to get this retread. It was not even a retread. It's like going to the dump and finding like an 83 Astro van and getting the tires off.
And trying to put new finish on it?
Yeah, that's exactly what you're doing. And how is that benefiting your club? How is that benefiting the fan base? How is that benefiting your merch sales, sponsorship deals, anything? It does nothing but keeps you level. Because if you're one of these teams, you're selling one of two things. You're either selling a vision or you're selling success. Anything else, and you're selling mediocrity. And that's what so many of these clubs are doing, and Newcastle is right there in the middle. Here's what we're going to sell you guys, a whole heaping lot of mediocrity. Buy our tickets because the lads love you.
Sheffield Wednesday, Aston Villa, Hull City, Sunderland, Wigan, Birmingham, Palace, Wigan, Huddersfield in 99, and Sheffield United. That is the Steve Bruce CV.
Is there any vision there?
Is
there any vision? Is there looking at these? Is there like, oh my God, he had such a visionary approach with this club.
What's his career record?
Probably not good.
But you
average, I believe would be the number.
I don't even know if it gets to that point. Let me see if I have a total here. 907 matches played.
Right.
349 wins.
Okay.
331 losses. 227 draws. That's about as average as it gets, yeah.
He's a 65 that you can't dance to. That is Steve Bruce's coaching.
He's the management version of khaki. Like, that's exactly what he is.
Very nice.
It's like,
yeah.
That's all you're getting. If you are a team owner and you call them up, and you get your board together, and you say, guys, we have to do something different.
The Sansabelt double knit reversible slacks version of a manager.
Yes. Yeah. Guys, let's go to JCPenney and find me the khaki-iest shade of khaki that is wrinkle-free. Can we find those with pleats?
I mean, the place he was at the longest was Birmingham. 270 matches. He won 100. He lost 100. He drew 70.
Wow.
Yes. Wow. Remember the old Mac and PC ads?
Yes.
I'm a Mac, and I'm a PC. Like, yeah, that's him. that's Steve Bruce. He's PC.
Wait a minute. I'm offended. That's not cool.
It's accurate.
Not cool.
Wow.
What are you gonna do? If you're Newcastle, if you're somebody needs to go to them who has Mike Ashley's ear and sit down with him and say, okay.
His ego's too large. It won't matter.
I know it won't matter. It won't matter. And I'm screaming at the stars, as the Russians say, "Go look at the mountains." But this is something where you have to say, Mike, if we were to get a young manager in here who just went,
Mike Ashley would say, "Ooh, he's cheap."
Yes, and that's good. That's fine. We have this young manager out of Spain or France or Italy or wherever. Or, I mean,
Kazakhstan.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
The Russian League.
Just somebody with a vision. I mean, hell, call Independiente up and get, hey, Sebastian Beccacheche, what's it going to take to get you over here, pal?
I'll tell you who they should go get, who's available right now, is Independiente's former manager, Ariel Holan.
Yeah.
Who won a Copa Sudamericana, who is not with a club at the moment.
Right. And that would give your fan base hope. Oh, this is a guy who won something. You know, he's not a walking version of a word problem. He's.
If a train left the station,
that's right. If a train leaves Cincinnati at 4 p.m.,
what's the average velocity of a swallow leaving the same station in Columbus?
That's right. What's the numerical value of purple? I mean, so it's you gotta come up with something that either sells a vision or sells success. And if you go with a hold on, then you're at least saying we have a guy who's had success. And yes, he was cheap. So it met the fiscal responsibility that we have to maintain the club and also provides leadership and a development plan going forward. Mike Ashley called me.
But Mike Ashley wants to bring back the laser disc, I'm sure.
Oh, he does. It does. Look, Laserdisc had many fine titles, okay? Many fine titles on Laserdisc. You can watch Cocktail on Laserdisc.
Hey,
I think that might have been the last one that was released
Elizabeth
on Laserdisc.
Shue and Cocktail.
Dynamite. Dynamite. Adventures in Babysitting, Elizabeth Shue.
Oh, underrated movie.
That's a great flick.
That's a great movie. Who's Vincent D'Onofrio is Thor, I believe. He was the mechanic who the girl thought was Thor.
Yes.
Yeah. See, there we go.
No, Elizabeth Shue. There is actually a soccer movie Elizabeth Shue is in that highly recommended.
Ooh.
It's called Gracie.
Whoa.
It's kind of the story of her life. Actually, grew up as a soccer player.
Oh, because of her brother?
Well, no, she wanted to play, and there wasn't a girls' team, so she played on the boys' team in, I want to say, maybe the late 70s. And
Elizabeth Shue played?
yeah, her brother played for the LA Galaxy.
Andrew, yeah.
Melrose Place star Andrew Shue.
That is
Yeah.
correct.
But
yes.
Elizabeth Shue played growing up, and huge soccer fan. And there's a movie about loosely
not
based on her
aware of
life, and
this.
she was in it
I was
that
not
he
aware of
produced
this.
called Gracie.
Huh.
Came out 10 years ago or so.
Wow. Did not
Very
know this.
small flick. Good,
Wow.
good little movie though. It's good.
Passion project. There's nothing wrong
And
with it.
Andrew Shue came out to a Soccer in the Streets program. All the kids got to go see the movie when it debuted at Fitz Place. Andrew
and now
Shue was
you know
awesome.
the rest of the story.
I mean, no, it was a good movie, but Andrew Shue was like just a really down to earth, cool dude with the kids. Very cool to meet him. It was very cool for him to. I think he did that movie pretty much self-financed.
Yeah.
So
Well, see, I can appreciate that. I can appreciate someone who comes in, but because which favorite show of yours was he on again?
Melrose Place, sir.
Melrose Place. Okay.
That wasn't one of my favorites, but
Oh, you
The
were
early
90210.
seasons-
I was a 90210
Okay,
guy.
all
The
right.
early seasons of Melrose, yes, but the older the show got, the weirder it got. No, for me, it was Beverly Hills 90210.
So which of these shows was the one with the where the girl got her wig snatched?
That was Melrose.
That was
That was Melrose Place.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was when it went completely off the rails.
All right, yeah. So like she got her wig snatched and like she had like some
Giant scar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
brain surgery.
She'd been
and all.
dead
Yeah.
and then came back from the dead, and I mean, just
Yeah.
never turns out well when that happens.
no, that's usually a bad sign.
Happens to see Bruce's career a lot of times. Came back from the
It
dead,
has.
never really got back to where it should be.
Yeah.
It has. That was good.
You
I
should-
like that.
There you go.
Yeah,
I like
they,
that.
They got the EMTs got the paddles out for Steve Bruce's career numerous times.
Numerous times.
Are they going to get the paddles out for VAR in the Premier League though? Oh, because people are not happy about
And
this.
they are singing their unhappiness
But
too.
a lot of times they're wrong.
I know.
But that's the and I cannot believe I'm going to quote Jose Mourinho. But
Yes.
but Jose Mourinho nailed it. He said only the thief is concerned about security cameras.
It's true.
And it's true. Like oh, you're taking away the joy of the game. Well, hey, you know what? And here in American football, we understand that holding occurs on every play.
Yeah.
But you know what? If it gets called, it's part of it. You have to
And
figure
it
out how to do
was
better.
so over the rails
Yeah.
that you had to call it.
Yeah, you had to call it. And if you are offside by an inch or by 40 feet. I have accepted the fact that Pippo Inzaghi would not have a career with VAR. He wouldn't. I mean, the guy lived offside. He would be 4.5 feet offside, and some linesman wouldn't call it, and he would score with his butt. I mean, somehow the ball would just find him and ricochet off of him into the goal. But as a Milan fan, I loved it. He would not be successful in today's VAR world. You got to get over it. And if there's a foul committed, that's on the official to call the foul correctly. And if you are not calling it correctly on the field, then VAR should have the stones and the ability to say, it's wrong, you need to overturn it. But the ref is the one who makes the call, right?
Yes.
To go to the,
Yeah.
nope, I'm not calling. And that's what I saw in the Newcastle game.
Yeah, that's what it appeared.
Is it the VAR called down and said, yeah, you may want to take a look at that.
Mike Dean's like, nah, fam.
Nope, not fam. We're good, and kept it moving. And in a way, I'm okay with that, even though it was wrong for the following reason. I want officials to be confident in their calls.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with the fact that he wanted to go with what he saw on the field, but in a penalty situation, you need to go look at the screen.
Especially one where the guy is falling down face first.
Yeah.
Like, it just looks bad.
Yes.
That should be an easy one. we'll get into Mike Dean and just that part in a second, but VAR is in most major leagues around the world now, and it's at different phases of implementation. I want to touch on Eugene Rupinski, who writes for FootMex Nation about Liga MX. I was fascinated to read like some of the things he looked at here. I think Jose Mourinho would agree with a lot of this as well. He said VAR will always be controversial because it is an imperfect solution for an imperfect set of problems. There will always be subjectivity, whether it is around a ball striking an arm in an unnatural position, whatever that may be, or whether a foul was a serious foul play or merely unsporting behavior. And he talked about people saying it ruins the flow of the game. That's one of the number one complaints.
Right.
There are usually more hydration breaks per game than VAR consultations, and most people don't complain about that. First off, there were 10 times VAR was used in the Mexican League this weekend. 10 times in 9
Matches,
games.
yeah.
Okay. That's reasonable. The couple things that he said here that I really liked, talking about VAR has also most likely changed the behavior of players as they now need to be cognizant that everything they do is subject to review. This is inherently a good thing as it discourages the sort of skullduggery that players could often get away with. That's key. I think that will have an effect over a little more time. It gives refs an out. I mean, Mike Dean was confident that he had that one right. Okay, that's good.
And
I think ultimately he's going to be proved wrong.
Yeah.
But it also gives the referee who's not quite sure, if they don't get a good look, if they're screened, if they're not able to see the whole thing, they get help. And it's never going to be what some people think it will be in that it fixes everything. That's not what VAR is supposed to do. It's supposed to give the referee more tools to get things right. It's not going to be 100% because it can't, because you're talking about humans.
Right.
But it helps the referee make the right decision if they're willing to accept the help.
And when you look at the Premier League VAR, and I give the league full credit for showing what they're looking at, although the super mega hyper 3D X, Y, and Z axis breakdown of the calls. I mean, it's almost very Big Brother-ish. It's an interesting dynamic. I know I'm for VAR if you get the call right. It's just this little added bit of seeing the dotted lines in the X, Y, and Z axis and the analysis of making sure. I think it was on I think it was the Raheem Sterling, one of the Raheem Sterling instances. Just that the X, Y, and Z dotted lines, you're sitting there going, okay, you really are looking at this frame by frame and going full Zapruder, aren't you?
And people have pulled that out and said, well, now, like, look, you can't say it's within the margin of error and this and that.
No, if you are, you are. If you're not, you're not.
No, the technology, like the lines, they can't be 100% exact because we're talking about technology, and now they're saying that there's a certain amount of room that is within the margin of error. All right, clean all that up. Make it to where it's what we know. It either is or it isn't, and if it isn't definitively, then it isn't.
Yeah.
And just keep it simple. But I think what's happening, and I've said this since the Women's World Cup, what VAR is doing is it's shining a spotlight on loopholes, poor language, bad definitions in the laws of the game that have to be cleaned up. And then when they do clean something up, they think they did with handballs, and they screw it up even more, it's going to get called out.
Well, there was an incident. England was not alone in VAR buffoonery. So in the Napoli-Fiorentina game, which was an absolute electric affair, if you have not watched the Napoli-Fiorentina game, please go on
48
ESPN+.
48 goals in regulation.
The game finished 4-3, and it was back and forth. It was wide open. But Dries Mertens was running into the box and literally launched himself off of the ground. Didn't even make it look like, okay, I'm going to really try to drag my foot here. It was like a 1992 dive.
Was this Murillo-esque?
Oh, it was. Insert your favorite diving player here. And like Ronaldo at Man United days. Like, that's how bad it was. And they went to VAR, and they reviewed it, and the announcers were like, oh, in the run of play, it looked like it was a penalty, and then they went and they reviewed it one time, and they were like, yeah, it's a dive. And then it should be a very straightforward call, and then nope, penalty. Like, how in God's name do you not call that? It's right there in front of you, and that's why VAR is the imperfect solution, because you still have to go to some knucklehead who's going to view it. Like, if you took me, I have the IQ of a lobotomized chimp, and if you took me and you put me in front of a screen and said, okay, Nick, with 40,000 people screaming at you in full throat.
This is why you need to be in South Florida viewing it in a centralized location and not inside the stadium.
100%. Because if I'm going to sit there and just like if there was the Immaculate Reception, right?
Sure.
So if you go back into YouTube Immaculate Reception, I'm not going to walk through the entire play for you, but there was a questionable catch, and the official literally had said before, at some point the ref was like, if I call this incomplete, I'm not getting out of the stadium. Complete pass.
Uh-huh.
and if you're going to be in these situations as the VAR guy, and I'm going to call a penalty, and it's this kind of game where it's back and forth and there's goals being scored left and right, the next goal might win it. And, yeah, that's a penalty. I'm going to call it. So that is the imperfect thing.
They do have really good security, though. I can speak to this. I've seen it. We've been stationed next to the VAR room in some stadiums, depending on the press box layout.
I'm not worried about the guy. When he's at the screen. I'm worried about the guy when he's leaving and walking to his car.
Well, I think he gets walked. I hope.
Who's walking him?
Probably the big security guard that's standing next to the door all night.
Who watches the watchman? That's what I need to know. Because
that's a whole other topic.
Let me tell you, Luigi Sarducci don't care. Luigi Sarducci's going to be like, who's putting cash in my hand?
I don't want to know who Luigi is.
Oh, look at the time.
Yeah, see, I'm just saying.
Oh, looks like my shift just ended.
This is my smoke break. I cannot walk you to your car. I'm sorry.
What?
I'm
going to go hang out with Maurizio. We're going to have our 5 packs a day, and I'll be back Thursday.
I just called a 95th minute penalty.
That's right.
What?
Uh-huh.
What? Nope. Have a great walk, sir.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm going to be like, where are we playing? Oh, we're playing in Florence? No call. Nope. No penalty. Please play on. Thank you. Have a great day.
Centralized location.
You have to have that.
With lots of security guards.
Lots of security.
In a NORAD-like bunker.
It really does. It needs to be anonymous. It needs to be anonymous, where some official will be selected, just like for the State of the Union when they take one congressman.
Oh, designated survivor.
Designated survivor, and you're going to have your designated VAR. You're going to get a hand-delivered message to you in the middle of the night that's going to say it's you, and you just know.
So now to be a VAR, you have to go in the witness protection program?
Yeah, pretty much. Look, in South America.
Well, that's a good point.
In Italy, yeah.
In Italy?
That's a good point.
Look, if I'm calling some of these games, absolutely no. I want to be anonymous. I don't want anyone to know who I am. I don't even want the appearance of impropriety. Negative.
Did you guys see the one? I think it was in a South American country, I'm pretty sure. I want to say it was Bolivia. I might be wrong. This was a few weeks ago, where it was a really difficult call. I don't remember the specifics, but there's no VAR in this league. The referee goes over to talk to the fourth official. He talks to his AR. He's trying to figure out what to do with it. It's 5-6 minute delay. He makes the VAR symbol and points to the penalty spot or something. And people are like, there's no VAR.
Yeah.
We don't have VAR.
Yeah.
Just trying to find a way out of it.
Yes.
And it goes back to what we talked about last week. It is becoming impossible to be an official now. There's so much being asked of you at such a young age, where adults are screaming at children who are just trying to make a quick $20 on a Saturday morning. So the ones who have talent get out. And so what we're left with are dinosaurs who don't want to run and go, I didn't see anything, keep playing. No blood, no foul, let's go. Come on, let's go, get up. And that's what we're dealing with now. And so we have VAR, but then I'm not making that call in Florence. No, sir. I'm walking home with the power of my 2 legs with functioning kneecaps.
Lots of security is needed.
All
Yes.
this charity.
All right, let's continue on in Italy. Week 1 of the Serie A season, week 2 in Spain, week 3 in England, because, we want to confuse everybody.
And I'd like to thank Roma for messing up my streak. Thanks.
So John still does the streak for the cash on the ESPN website, and it seems like every other day I hear a complaint about somebody screwing up his streak.
Correct.
How far do you actually streak in these things? 2, 3?
I was on a 10.
Oh, wow.
There we go.
And you have to get to how many?
I was the leader in the clubhouse was dead at 24. So if I won 2 a day
Okay.
for the remainder of the month, and 1 month I actually did have a 27.
Okay. And you
It
didn't win
was
anything.
Because I decided to say that Sloane Stevens, who was a minus 230 at the time in the first round of a tournament, was going to do well. She completely tanked, went double bagel, and was out in 30 minutes.
So you're going to blame Josie Altidore for that, right?
Yes, I am.
I figured.
It's a good call.
So, yeah, so one of the selections over the weekend was Roma to win or Genoa with the draw option. Genoa win or draw to go with Roma winning outright. And the juice box purveyors had Roma winning outright at 170, minus 170. Mm-hmm. The draw and the win draw option for Genoa was at minus 130. I went with Roma to win outright, as did everyone except for 0.6% of the folks voting on that matchup, and we all crashed out.
Oh, that's Vegas.
This game was stupid, by the way.
Yes, it was.
Roma kept going up and then conceding equalizers.
Uh-huh.
3-3, probably the most ridiculous game outside of Florence.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say that. See, Roma has issues right now with they are caught in between rebuilding. They were in the middle of a rebuild. They planed out. The highlight of that was when they beat Barcelona in Champions League, and they cleaned house. And now they're trying the slow, steady process of getting it back. And Roma at this point, if you want super sweet David Bowie-inspired jerseys and probably the best sports social media in the game, Roma's your ticket. But I probably would not have personally put any juice boxes on Roma. I wish you would have called me. I would have been happy to consult you on this, John, going forward. You might have had we might have been able to make a little arrangement.
I just
with some
wanted to
cash,
continue my streak with a prohibitive favorite that decided to give up a penalty at the end of the first half to draw things even again.
Just like you wanted to play David Osted
Well, see,
and Carlos Gureso, who
Correct.
wasn't in a different league
Accurate.
stage.
Yes.
but see, there are a lot of people who in the juice box world who would have picked Milan Udinese, and instead Milan.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go there.
I will go there.
Okay, go there.
I will go there because this is going to be shocking and amazing, I think, for a lot of the listeners here. Milan looked extraordinarily disjointed, and that is the kindest words that I can use. Do not include
Like
profanity.
the yogi that put himself in the glass box on That's Incredible? That kind of disjointed?
Is it the guy who didn't douse himself in kerosene and set himself on fire?
Wow.
Okay, because that's pretty much what I saw. It was boring. It was slow. It was everything that you did not want to see if you're trying to tell people about the good things about Serie A. And Udinese was they just caught him. And one of the best parody accounts on Twitter is Donald J. Agnelli.
Yes,
agreed.
agreed.
It's a blend between the chairman of Juventus and Donald Trump,
Yeah.
and so it's all written like Donald Trump, but geared entirely towards Serie A. And so they say, yeah. So Udinese is the northernmost team in Serie A. And so Donald J. Agnelli tweeted that Milan was beaten by a team from Yugoslavia.
Oh, wow.
it was I laughed
Oh, wow.
way too hard at that. So, it was like Milan loses to a team from Yugoslavia. Sad. And so but Milan has a lot of problems right now. They have a lot of new players, and that's what you saw across the board with Serie A this weekend, is a lot of the new signings did not start. So for Fiorentina, Kevin Prince Boateng did not start. He came in and immediately scored. So play him more. And Franck Ribéry did not start either. But they will. And I will tell you guys, if Fiorentina keeps on this track, there's rumors that they're trying to get Fred from Manchester United. For
Rocco Camiso's going nuts.
Yeah, between 18 to 20 million. They're trying to get him out of there. And then there was talk that they were trying to get Diego Rossi out of LAFC for like 17-ish million. Rocco Camiso is going nuts. And he talked about financial fair play and how he was going to try to build this team without breaking the bank. And you see what he's doing. Well, it's a lot of these $20 million moves, free transfers, 17. If you're going between $17 to $30 million transfer, I think that's the sweet spot for Serie A.
Okay.
When you're trying to go up north of that and you're talking 80, 90 million, there's not enough capital in Serie A right now with Serie A owners to break even. You have to break even with financial fair play over a 3-year period. And for Serie A clubs not named Juventus, it's close to impossible. So I don't know what Inter is doing and how they're going to manage to balance the checkbook. I would look heavily at their Chinese investments and just keep an eye on that.
Well, to your point about the sweet spot, and I think that if you look at past business where Fred was at Shakhtar, brought in under Mourinho's Manchester United for an obscene amount of money, I want to say 70 or 80, and he basically sat.
Yep.
So what Camiso is looking at here is a depreciated asset and trying to jump in on it at 20, which is, if he can pull that off, that's good business.
Right.
If you let Fred be what he was at Shakhtar and not what he was anticipated to be at Manchester United.
That's right. And Kevin Prince Boateng, when he was with Sassuolo, he helped resurrect that team. I mean, he was instant offense for them. He really made that engine go. And then when he went to them and said, I want to go, Barcelona has called me because they had injury troubles last year, and they want me to come in. It's a boyhood dream. And credit to Sassuolo, they let him go. And it's a similar situation. Barcelona, hey, we appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed your time wearing our uniform. You ain't got to go home, but you can't stay here. He looked right back to Italy. His family loves living in Italy. He prefers to live in Italy. And he knows that he can thrive in Serie A. I'm shocked he didn't go back to Sassuolo. But with Rocco Camiso, and if you have to pick a town in Italy to live in, Florence is a damn good choice. And he has said before, the food scene in Italy is part of the reason why he loves living there. The greatest meal I've ever eaten in my life was in Florence. Wandered around, threw the map down. My ex-wife was one of those people who had to have a map with her everywhere she went.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We're not in a zone that is like designated tour. I grabbed the map.
So she believed in Rick Steves' Europe.
Yes, she believed in Rick Steves' Europe. And that's one of the times I knew it wasn't necessarily going to work between us, is when the look of fear when I snatched the map. And I was like, no. But we went and we wandered around town and we found our way to this little restaurant. It looked like it was, half empty. We walk in, and the locals looked at us like, oh, God, they found us. Everyone leave. And I'm telling you, if they told me, Nick, you have 2 weeks left, where do you want to go? I will go back to Florence, and I will walk until I find that restaurant, because I ate a veal chop that you put the fork in, and it clinked the plate without any effort. It went tink. Nice little thin tomato-based sauce, wilted spinach on top. Very, very simple ingredients.
Okay.
Absolutely. And they come through, like, if you take 2 of your fingers and stack them on top of each other, right? That's how they measured how much they were going to charge you for wine consumption.
Oh, wow.
And that we went there 2 nights in a row, and they grew to love us, and so they went 1, 2, okay, just take the bottle.
Wow.
And it was that kind of joint.
That's the best kind of place.
Done.
Yeah, so that's why you choose Florence if you have a place to go.
Okay.
And so, but as far as the rest of Serie A goes, Juventus was not very convincing, but then again, your manager's battling pneumonia. I don't know really what you're trying to look for. Higuain, the Hamburglar.
Higuain got the start. I was impressed.
Yeah, he did well in hold-up play. But the team that scares me right now the most is Inter. Inter looked.
And this is where I wanted to go.
Yeah, Inter looked absolutely terrifying today. Where in Serie A, the start for most of your lower to mid-level teams, it's electric. You're right out of the gate. Either you're on or you're off.
Right.
And the idea is to, like a bottle rocket, shoot as high as you can go, plane out, pop, and then the slow descent. If we can hold it, please, God, hold it. But Inter came out, and you can tell that it was an Antonio Conte coach team. They were fit as hell. They ran like madmen. They defended like crazy. And yes, it's against Lecce. Before anybody goes, oh, but it's Lecce, it's Lecce. I'm telling you.
Is that what Serie A fans do?
Yes, yeah. Oh, but it's Lecce. You can't. Look, I hate Inter. I cannot stand Inter Milan. I see jerseys with 1908 on, and it makes my brain explode. I don't like blue and black, except when it's the Italian national team jersey. Other than that, I wish them long and happy lives, and I wish they lose every game that I'm remotely invested in. This is a team, and I rarely say this, after 1 week, you can look at them and go, yep, they're world beaters. They're the ones. If I'm Juventus, I'm looking down at Milan right now, and I'm freaking out. They have speed. You have Lukaku, who, yes, his first touch is like swinging an iron club. But at the same time, you do have Lautaro Martinez. You do have.
I like Lautaro Martinez.
Yeah, you have guys all over the place who are difference makers. And Beppe Marotta came out and said, because Wanda, of course.
I was about to say, do you have Icardi?
Well, Wanda came out and said that they talked to someone, quote unquote.
Someone.
Wanda talked to someone?
With Inter. Someone. She didn't say her. She said someone.
Okay.
Talked to them, and we want to be in Milan. That's where we want to be. We don't want to leave.
What she didn't tell you was she just rang the front desk, and it was the receptionist.
Yes.
When she picked up the phone.
Exactly.
Inter, hello. Click. We spoke to someone.
Yes. And that's what is happening, because Beppe Marotta came out and said, and I quote, "No one told Icardi to stay at Inter."
Oh, wow.
Wanda doesn't understand who she's playing with. Beppe Marotta, if you haven't seen him, anytime you see anything online with Inter and you see a balding guy with a lazy eye that's like looking toward Milwaukee, that's Beppe Marotta.
Wow.
Milwaukee's a long way away from Milan.
Yeah, that's Beppe Marotta. But you can say whatever you want about the man, but he and Antonio Conte built Juventus into what they are today. The team that has been running like a steamroller over everyone in Serie A, Conte and Beppe Marotta built that. And now they're in charge of Inter. And so the moves they're making are fiscally responsible in true Juve fashion, which is not what Inter has always done. They had significant financial fair play issues. And you know that Conte will drive them into the ground. And that's the only thing that concerns me about this team, is that when you start getting into the heart of Coppa Italia and you start getting into Champions League, how hard he drives that team, what is his willingness to do some squad rotation?
I have no willingness for squad rotation.
I have no need for squad rotation.
What you're talking about.
Look, first of all, let me go ahead and tell it. Conte has some fantastic hair plugs. His hair plugs, whoever he got to do his hair plugs.
That don't move.
No, it's really well done. For a while, it kind of looked like you could see that's
a bad time.
Yeah, the deforestation process, you could really see it. He's got it cleaned up. It looks really nice. But it seems to me that he has a chip on his shoulder.
Does he have a title contender, though?
I think he does.
So there's a great piece, and I highly recommend it over at The Athletic from late last week. Michael Cox, he is a must-follow on The Athletic.
No doubt.
Felipe Cardenas is a must-follow on The Athletic. For me, Michael Cox is right there as well. He digs into the tactics of things, and he covers the world game. It's not just England or Europe. He gets pretty broad with it. But it's a great piece if you're not super familiar with Serie A. Conte versus Sarri versus Ancelotti. This could be the best Serie A title race for years. And he dug into it where, on the scale of Italian football, You have the Milan years where they were heavily Dutch influenced.
Yep.
And that they were very different from what Italian football had been. You had Juventus, who was always win, don't care about style, doesn't matter, don't care how you do it, win, 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 win. And now in this, you've got Conte going to enter and being the typical, classical Italian manager. You've got Maurizio Sarri going to Juventus, which has been the typical, classic Italian club.
Yep.
And now Sarri is not that at all.
No.
And Ancelotti, who's kind of the in-between. He'll lean one way, he'll lean the other way. Depends on the players he's got. My question for you, Nick, if you think Conte's got a title contender at Inter, is Sarri going to work out at Juve if the football's good, but the results are
No.
Sometimes it may be good.
Sometimes it may be. No, he won't. And anytime you have somebody, and you guys know how I work, I will start off way left field, but I promise you we'll reach third base and circle for home. But with somebody whose health is as poor as Sarri's is, with really no apparent
There's
desire.
no margin, yeah.
There's no margin here. The guy smokes like 60 cigarettes, like 60 cigarettes a day, was it?
5 packs, yeah.
Yeah, 5 packs. And so, he's doing that. He's downing espressos left, right, and center. His physical health has to be factored into this equation.
That is heavy fuel, brother.
Yeah, and if he can stay healthy and he can get buy-in from the team, and another thing that's going to hurt Juve is they have not done a great job of making that team younger. And Chiellini doesn't have that much longer left, and I don't know how many more campaigns he can play at a top level. There will be moments where looks like he's a world beater, and moments where he's going to let something stupid go by. Bonucci is great at distributing from the back, but there's no guarantee you're going to get anything, substantial defensive performance out of him. Where if that starts to fall apart, I don't think he's going to be fired this season, but you could see another one and done from him. Especially if his health declines and he's not able to manage them with regularity.
Right.
Carlo is Mr. Consistency. He's tactically flexible. He will work with the players that he has. I know everybody seems to think he's going to try out the Christmas tree. No, he actually will try out a 4-2-3-1, and he's A-okay with that. But the principles of Ancelotti will remain the same, but he tactically will work around those principles. You will see exciting ball from him. You will see a team that gets forward. You will see a team that will pressure the other side, recover, transition, and put themselves in scoring position. They have the talent and the youth to do it. Inter, to me, is the one where it looks like right now they are a league winner. Juve's problem will come in the Champions League. Because
traditionally,
the age will catch them there, and I think that if you have age and a mix of injuries that will hit them in Champions League play in Coppa Italia, they're going to have to make sacrifices, and I'm wondering if the sacrifice is almost like what Man City may want to do, which is, hey guys, we've won this league thing enough, focus on Champions League, and if Sarri fails in both domestic and Champions League, he'll be one and done. I have very little doubts he'll be one and done in Turin if that happens.
Do you think he's got the talent to get through it, though?
I think he has the talent to get through it. Ronaldo, you're asking Ronaldo to have yet another superior year.
And play out wide, too.
Yeah, at his age. And you've talked about moving Mario Mandzukic, which is a concern to me. I don't know why you would move him. Gonzalo Higuain has shown really no interest in getting his weight down. He's really shown no interest.
I was going to say he's shown no interest in a
interest
salad.
In a few things.
He's shown some interest. He's been hanging out with Wesley Sneijder, apparently.
Hanging out at that restaurant you were talking about.
Yeah. So, but to me, striker is a problem for them. Had they kept Moise Kean, I might say, you know what, they have the ability to play fast and beautiful, but no, if that striker position is not solidified. And I don't know what Sarri's issue is with Higuain, if Higuain has photos of him in a compromising position or what, or some kind of dirt on Maurizio Sarri. But I don't know what it is, but he keeps finding his way into Sarri's teams. And he hasn't really earned that. And if and that concerns me because you're not talking about a manager who's okay with a lot of squad rotation. You're talking about a guy who's going to trot the same crew over and over again that he has faith in.
Right.
So I think this is a doomed marriage. It has it written all over it for me. I think this is the year that Juve fails to win the Scudetto. I think the streak stops.
That's a bold statement.
I'm putting it on the board. You have teams now that have the ability, the management talent, the players, and the youth necessary
Ajax,
to
Tottenham.
compete. Yeah, you have the ability to compete now. It was where the main issue before was you didn't have teams who could financially keep up. It would take Juve making dumb moves to fall off, and now they're making dumb moves.
So let's go ahead and jump into Mondays with Reddit.
You want to do that, or do you want to do the question of the day?
We'll come back to the question of the day.
All right.
Because Mondays with Reddit will lead us into a question to follow up on this. So you like Inter, right?
Yes. Well, no, I don't like Inter, but
I know. Sorry, yeah.
You understand their place.
I understand their position potentially in the table this year.
I inadvertently led you down a bad alley. Sorry. What would you say if Corriere della Sera and their report about Alexis Sanchez coming to Inter? Is that good?
I think that would be good for them. I think Sanchez needs he obviously needs a change of scenery, but will Man United let him go? I mean, they're not exactly looking like they're world beaters. That's another topic we can dive into.
According to the report,
doesn't OGS want to sit there and bring in his own guys for his own philosophical
wait till
change?
January.
You got to wait till January. You got to make do with the the goods you have at the moment.
Inter would pay €5 million per year of his wages, so it'd be a loan.
I think that if it's a loan, I would take him. If it's a loan, I take him. I don't want the long-term contract that I have to deal with. I don't want to have to move a potential diminishing asset if he doesn't work out. But I'm okay paying a salary for this year. I would have to have a heavily structured loan, 2 years with. I would say it'd be a 2-year loan with an option to buy, not an obligation. Anything approaching obligation, I'm walking away.
How long does Zinedine Zidane last in Spain?
I think he's done after this year.
You think he gets through the whole year?
I think he gets through a majority of the year.
That's kind of where I'm thinking.
I think he gets through. Look, we talked about it before against us when they played Celta Vigo, and we talked about the fact that they had. I saw some issues with that team. That there wasn't a lot of, all for one and one for all, which tended to be a hallmark of a Zidane team. Like he was able to rally the troops and get these prima donnas moving in one direction. I would say that there has been if you look at the way that the team is structured right now, the fact that they have James on the bench, they were not able to move James, that they have Gareth Bale there, who's now a quote-unquote important player.
Oh. Yes, yeah, all of a sudden.
This week.
Yeah, this week. That tells me that Zidane has lost a backroom battle. He lost a battle with Florentino Perez, who has reasserted his foot on the throat of any sort of creativity on that team. And Zidane, I think but I think it's going to be crazy. I think Zidane might walk before the end of the year, not necessarily.
With cash on the table?
With cash on the table.
Wow, okay.
All right, you'll be happy to hear some of these. Milan is linked to a couple different players.
With what money?
Well, that I don't know. They are ready to offer, this according to DiMarzio, ready to offer Juve a bid of €35 million for Marie Demiral.
I wouldn't go 35 mil for him. Juve needs flexibility. It needs financial flexibility. You need to get that. You need to offload the salary. You come in at like 20 mil. 20, 25 mil tops. I'm not going up to 35. I know that sounds like I'm really splitting hairs, but Milan is not in a position to be able to play with money. Every dime to them counts. They are not in European competition. They're not in like Europa because that's the deal they had to make for financial fair play compliance. So I don't know where all this money's coming from when they're buying these players. It's stupid.
They're also linked to Correa from Atletico Madrid.
Again, guys, I have 4 espresso makers and some Monopoly money. What can I get with this?
Oh,
I have a
boy.
Fiat out back. I can move as well. As
I have a
part of the deal.
1977 Ken Clay New York Yankees Topps baseball card. What did I?
That's right.
So let's go ahead and get the question of the day, and then one more question just about the landscape in Europe. But
All right.
the question of the day was an important one from one of our loyal listeners.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Katie Weaver,
Uh-huh.
quote, I bought a fanny pack today.
Oh, my.
I'm almost 40 years old. What life choices are you questioning today?
I'm not questioning buying a fanny pack because I could not wear a fanny pack. Sorry, Katie. Couldn't pull that one off. Trying to think. I mean, I'm sure I do questionable things every day, but I'm trying to think of my latest questionable thing.
Well, I think this was more along the lines of something that has happened within your lifetime that was a life choice that was
Oh,
pure.
like lifetime questionable things?
That'd be my guess,
I mean,
yeah.
in high school, I shaved my head on the sides and in the back and let the top grow over because that was the thing.
Yeah,
You know, I was like punk rock kid for about 6 months.
that's right.
And, yeah, it was hideous. It was awful. I think there was, like, purple streaks in my hair, too. It was cool.
See, I couldn't.
It was
do
bad.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't do the purple streaks and all that.
I bleached my hair for a while, too.
See, I had the hair shaved up underneath.
Yeah.
But like, totally, the total width of actual growth was maybe about, I would say, 2 inches,
Okay.
2.5 inches across, and then grown over.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't have the patience to get to that point.
I went through like a phase with Prodigy where I put my hair like Keith Flint.
Okay.
I would. The only thing but what would you bring back if you could bring back one of those things?
What was something from then that you thought that you still think is cool that you would do?
Like even if you didn't think it was necessarily cool, you're like, I could bring that back, and I might be able to make something. I might be able to make it work fashionably.
She claims it's for hiking purposes only
Stop,
and from
Katie.
REI, and she promises never to wear it to a music festival.
Oh,
I mean,
come
all
on,
that
Katie.
sounds good until you wear it to a music festival because it's so like freaking convenient.
Yes. For me, it's probably hanging on to the French hairdo, the moulet, longer than I should have.
You had a French hairdo?
I had me a moulet, sir.
I don't even know what a moulet is.
What is that? Can we?
That'd be a mullet.
Oh
Oh.
wow! There we go.
There you go. That's not French.
Nice.
Oh, I hung on to the mullet longer than I should have.
Maybe Louisiana French.
Yeah, that's a
a little Baton Rouge.
it's like a Popeye's chicken French. French by way of somewhere else.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
But the mullet's coming back. Then.
Aaron Long is a proponent of the mullet.
But for those of us short of getting, say, hair plugs or something like that
Oh,
to
yeah,
go back
me.
and
Oh,
chase,
yeah, that's not
Yeah.
good.
if you're of a certain age, Joe Dirtish,
Yeah.
and you're trying to go that game,
It doesn't
then
work.
No, that's a bad play.
My wife and I have a deal. My wife and Dr. Wifey, hello. Charlotte, the Duchess. Hello, baby. Daddy loves you.
So Dr. Wifey.
Oh, hold on. I have to give one more shout out.
You and the boss.
Jackie Fresh, hello.
Bam.
But we have a deal,
Oh,
and that is under no circumstances will I ever get hair plugs. Under no circumstances will I ever try to artificially regrow my hair.
all right, Rooney.
Because it never, like, you'll have it where it looks good-ish.
No. It's either good or bad. There's no good-ish with hair plugs.
Well, no, because it starts off and it looks fake. There's no getting around the fact, like, hey, you used to not
like
have
the
hair
Ron
last
Popeil
week.
spray that you put on
Right.
on the
That's the deal, is that I keep it shaved very close. Like today, obviously out in Radio Land, you can't see it. This is about as long as I let it go, which is like maybe 5 o'clock stubble.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it gets shaved off. That's the deal. But I promised them I will not deal with it. And I understand there are guys out there who are insecure about hair loss.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get why. Go watch Jason Statham and go see what Jason Statham is doing with his life and get some confidence
and
about
Dwayne
yourself.
Johnson.
And Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, I just shaved my head when it got to that point. It's like, no,
Yeah.
I'm good.
And I went to a barbershop, and I was trying to do the Jersey Shore thing where how much product can I put in it, you know?
Ah, yes.
no.
And I went to the barber, and the gentleman looked at me, and he said, all right, what do you want done here? And I said, well, I need a fade. And he goes, okay. He said, I can either make it look good or I can do what you want me to do.
Oh,
Wow.
And it was the most I was
a bad day.
I was taken aback.
Yeah.
That's when when it hits you.
Right. And I said, okay. And I still did not know what he wanted to do. And I swear to you guys, he put the clippers in the middle of my forehead. It went right back. A straight line down the middle of my head.
all right.
And when he got done, he said, fam, there's no more fades. There's no more hair product.
He laid it out for you.
He did. I wish to God I would have kept this guy's business card because he was the only barber. There are barbers out there who will willingly let you walk around with a terrible haircut just to keep collecting that $15 to $20 from you weekly to keep it maintained. Because the minute it gets a little sideways, it starts looking terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
There are very few barbers out there who will be like, let me tell you what's really happening with your head right now. Boot camp day one. That's your new look.
Oh, man.
All right, a couple more Mondays with Reddit topics, and they seem to keep coming back to Milan. Did somebody at Milan win the lottery today?
Look, Milan, when you lose to Udinese, you have to the Milan Twitter was going nuts. They had very few people who were saying, okay, give Gianpaolo time, give Gianpaolo time. Most people were like, blow up the team. Blow up the team. Get all new people. We have people who don't care about the club, blah, blah, blah. Your typical stuff. But, yeah. So I understand. Reddit's a little crazy right now.
So Herman Balcarce says Milan are in advanced talks to sign River Plate defender Lucas Martinez Quarta.
How much?
Player reps are in Italy. Release clause of €22 million. That's not a bad one.
That's not bad.
He's a good player. I know Quarta a little bit. That sounds about right.
That sounds good. Now, here's the thing. If you don't know a ton about Milan and Inter's history, Inter was known as the Argentine club. Like, you had a ton of Argentine talent that came through. Javier Zanetti came through there.
Verón was there for a while, right?
You had Cambiaso was there. And Cambiaso, another guy who let the weird balding thing. He had like two wisps of hair that went back. Almost like
was
cat
it
ears.
full Watergate? Cover up as much as you can?
No. It was like, so some of us who lose hair, we don't all lose it at the same rate. And so he had two patches of hair that were about a ½ inch apart that he let grow to be about 4.5 to 5 inches long, and he slicked it back so it looked like cat ears almost.
No.
It was the weirdest hairdo I've ever seen in sports. But Milan was the Brazilian club. If you were Brazilian, you went to AC Milan. If you were Argentine, you went to Inter. And that was the dynamic. So the fact that Milan is looking at an Argentine player it's pretty interesting to me. It's something that's newish.
Serge Aurier is another one that is reportedly interested in the Milan project.
Okay, considering his time at Tottenham.
Yeah, discussions continue between the Italians and Spurs, who are demanding a little under €25 million.
Yeah, Aurier has not really had many cups of coffee recently with Tottenham.
So pretty much like Milan just wants to sign everybody.
They need to.
That's in about the $20 to $30 million range.
Right. But I'm going to say the same thing, and I'm about RIP to my mentions. But teams like Milan, teams like Man United, guys, are you familiar with Masterclass? Dr. Wifey got me Masterclass for my birthday, and essentially it's an online learning portal.
Oh,
nice.
Okay.
Where Michelin-starred chefs will teach you how to cook. Ron Howard teaches you how to direct film.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, Martin Scorsese teaches you about filmmaking. Werner Herzog teaches you how to do documentary and standard filmmaking, which is it's one of my favorite ones.
Okay.
And, they have workbooks and everything for you to do. And one of the guys who is in this is Garry Kasparov, who was the former world chess champion. He teaches you from ground up how to play chess.
Wow.
And it's not just teaches you how to play chess, he teaches you about decision making. And he says one thing that happens to champions is they cannot escape the gravity of victory. And they refuse to allow themselves to be viewed critically because of the past success. That's what's happening. with Milan. That's what's happening with Manchester United, where you have this legacy of success that has collapsed like a neutron star, and you cannot escape it. Because everyone says, "Oh, remember when we had Sir Alex, and people feared coming
Good
into
old
Old
days
Trafford."
syndrome.
Yeah, in Milan, remember the days of Sacchi, remember the days of Carlo. And you can't escape it, guys. It's time to hit the reset button. Those days are not coming back. Those glory days are not coming back. It will not look the same. Pirlo's not walking in the door. Beckham's not walking through the door unless he's there to pitch you some kind of project. You have to escape the gravity of your past success, and you have to start viewing things with a more critical eye. Otherwise, you're not getting out of this. If Milan goes and tries to make the old day signings, they will not escape financial fair play. And Man United, if they don't start developing more youth, which they're doing, but if they don't shut up and let the youth play and let Ole Gunnar Solskjaer have growing pains,
That's the key.
what are you going to do? You're going to chase Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out and have some other manager come in and blow it up? You're a mid-table team right now. Milan, mid-table team. I'm not speaking like just about your team alone. I'm talking about my team too. You have to let the growing pains happen, or else you will make no progress. And you're going to have to accept that you're not probably going to see European football for a period of time.
So one of the all-time greats played his last match this weekend. Fernando Torres, hanging him up in Japan.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man. No?
No. He played for Milan. He played for Liverpool, and he did in Chelsea. And my memories of Torres is how many feet wide of the goal can I put this pass that's been perfectly lined up for me.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm glad you went and got your money in Japan, fam. I'm really happy for you, but
His time at Liverpool was the best.
yes.
Atleti too.
Atleti.
Yeah, but Liverpool, he was killing it. And with Spain, when they first broke through 2008,
Yep.
killing it. The injury, and then he went to Chelsea, never the same after that.
I think we have some players who anxiety, we talk about mental health a lot. I think anxiety plays a role in, the crushing of the confidence of some of these players. And I think you're right. When he went to Chelsea, I think the expectations were high. I think the gravity of past success was there, and he couldn't escape it. And, it went sideways. Look at Shevchenko. When Shevchenko left Milan and went to Chelsea, and then came back, was he the same guy? No, he was not. No. He was a world beater with Milan, and then he left and was never really the same. You have to factor that in. But as a fan, I can sit there and look at him and be like, I really wish you hadn't come to my team. I'm sorry. But good on him, man. Look, he went to Japan. He got a wall of money. And who was it? Vissel Kobe?
No, he was with a different one, I think. I think Kobe is Iniesta.
That's Iniesta. That's the Iniesta money-burning project. Yeah.
David Villa and Iniesta at Kobe? I think they are.
I thought they were. But it's something where if you're an agent, that situation's perfect for you.
Yeah.
Where a Japanese team calls up.
Sagantosu.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so you go and you get one last check. You're not going to send them to MLS because of the cap restraints, and the teams aren't going to spend stupid money on you.
You're going to get exposed.
You will get exposed. Let's send you somewhere.
Go ask Steven Gerrard about that.
Absolutely. Slippage. And then you need to go somewhere where you're going to make a wall of cash. And these guys are doing it. Iniesta's doing it. David Villa's doing it. Fernando Torres has done it.
Japan's spending. And they used to not be that league.
Yeah.
But what are they really getting out of it? Iniesta's only showing up to select games, and you have to hire a lookalike to come out and parade around and take pictures with fans. David Villa, look, collect your money and get out. Collect your money and go home. Pull an Andrew Luck and just say, hey, guys, Heart's not anymore. Time to go home.
Oh, man.
Get your money and call it good. I object to no one pulling a Luck.
Okay.
No one. Get your money and get out.
€5 million right now for Iniesta at Vissel Kobe.
Yeah, he's stealing money. they are taking money and they're lighting it on fire.
I can't say I watched the J League. What is it broadcast on in the U.S.? Is that on BR Live, I think?
I think so,
It might be.
I think that's the one that's on BR Live that I was kind of like, but no.
Not going to do the the carriage buy and just go ahead and buy that
No,
stuff.
I haven't went all in yet. But let's get into South America. Let's get into the impending madness that will descend upon us first on Sunday in league play with Boca going to River. Last time they tried to do this, it didn't go so well. They didn't.
Yeah.
They did get there.
Yeah.
played in the Canary
They lost
Islands.
about all the windows on the bus. There was pepper spray sprayed around that got into players' eyes. Glass got into players' eyes. And then the game didn't get played there. Well, this is a league game. I believe there will not be any visiting spectators allowed in the building. I would hope that they've learned a few lessons.
The building does not concern me.
Yeah,
The
I would hope they've
atmosphere
learned a
around
few
it.
lessons, but we'll find out because why this, other than just it's the Super Classico and it's always important, why this is even more important, they are on a collision course for the Copa Libertadores semifinal coming up in October because both of them had good results in the first leg of their quarterfinals. Boca went to Ecuador and got a result, so they're pretty much all but through. And River beat Cerro Porteño from Paraguay at home in the first leg pretty handily. They have to go to Paraguay now and hold it. They should be able to do that. These two teams this year in South America have set the bar. Even the Brazilian teams that have generally been in that conversation, it's River, it's Boca, it's everybody else. And now they're not going to meet in the final. And that wouldn't even be the same thing because it'd be played in Santiago, Chile, and it wouldn't be quite the same. It's not a two-leg deal. This is a two-leg deal in the semis, and CONMEBOL has to be freaking out right now.
So if you lived in Atlanta in '96 when the Olympics were here, they did what they called the Olympic ring around the city. They shut down all traffic going through downtown. You couldn't get in. You had to catch a bus. Where you were screened, caught a bus, and then taken to whatever venue you wanted to go to. I think Athens was the only exception with the soccer games. I think you could drive directly into Athens.
And Lake Lanier for the rowing and
but
stuff.
to get into downtown, you had to be pre-screened and put on a bus. I kid you not, when I think that is, if I was in charge of security, I would put a ring around Monumental, and I would say within 5 miles, you're catching a bus to get in. And you're going to be pre-screened to catch that bus. Anybody who's caught inside that circle without proper badging, you're getting arrested. And you have to put it on lockdown. And I hate that it's like that.
Yeah.
But if anybody has a better idea on that kind of control outside of martial law, let me know.
Oof. After what happened last time, good grief.
So, Argentina, call me up. We can. My rates are reasonable. I think I can.
Are they?
They are very reasonable. I can be on a plane. I don't know, Dr. Wifey. Can I be on a plane by Thursday? Is that possible? I might be able to be on a plane by Thursday. We'll see. We'll have a conversation when I get home. Apparently, Dr. Wifey has said I need a masterclass instruction on how to put a lock on the front door. So after I put the lock on the front door, then I can be on my way to Argentina.
So in league play. River has had a couple stumbles. They lost the match so far. They're 2-1-1. Boca undefeated, 3-0-1. Boca hasn't conceded a goal yet. After Guillermo Barros Escaloto goes to the LA Galaxy, after now Christian Pavón, they're like, yes, we'll take a free loan so you can go play for GBS again. You bring in Daniele De Rossi, who's been okay. He hasn't been lighting the world on fire, but he's been okay.
No.
Boca appears to be the team in the stronger spot. Definitely role reversal from last time where it was River with Pity Martinez having the year he was having where they were the dominant team. They're struggling a little bit more. Sunday is going to be a really fun match.
Boca Juniors to me is a side that's willing to take risks. They're willing to make hard choices to revamp the team, not just, hey, look, we got to get rid of player X because it's just good business, but hey, we need people in the locker room who are not just good on the field but good locker room presence as well. De Rossi, and we've talked about this, will not be someone who is going to be a world beater anymore on the field. He will give you moments of old De Rossi that will blow your mind. How in God's name did he, because he had the angle wrong, how in the world did he find a way to make that tackle? He'll still do that.
Then he'll break somebody's leg.
He'll break someone's leg. But
not think twice about
look,
it.
Omelets, eggs, we know the deal.
Nah.
But that's what you're seeing now. You're seeing a strong locker room presence with that side, and it's showing up in the standings. And good on it. That's the one South American jersey outside of Defensa y Justicia that I'm going to end up buying. Will be because my boys are at the bottom of the table.
Good win this week, though.
They got a good win.
They had a good win.
They got a good win. But it's to me, it's that's the De Rossi. The De Rossi kit may be one I can finally buy because I can't buy a Roma kit with De Rossi on the back.
So you're gonna have to make a decision. You're gonna have to get the league kit, which I think is 16, in Libertadores because he came in the knockout stage. There'd already been a group play.
Right.
He had to get Pavon's old number, so he's number 7 in Libertadores play.
Ooh, I'm going to go 7.
You're going to go 7?
Yeah, I'll go 7.
Okay.
No, I appreciate that heads up.
Yeah, they're two different numbers.
Because it's like the old college football thing. I love single digits. Like I like seeing a 300-pound defensive tackle with like a number 2.
Like an 8.
Yeah, like
Yes.
an 8. It's like
Byron
there's just
Cowart
something-
at Auburn.
Yeah, there's just something about that single digit number that just is clean. I like it.
Yeah, Argentina's been pretty fun to watch through 4 weeks of the season. Boca and San Lorenzo are at the top of the table. Arsenal is on 9 points, which is a bit of a surprise. Rosario Central on 8. River, Talleres, Lanús, Patronato on 7. Newell's hanging in okay. They're in 10th place with 6 points. I guess the crowdfunding for a transfer budget is going okay. Our boys, Defensa, 22nd out of 24. The goal differential's not great. That's why. I mean, it's a bunch of teams on 3. They had a bunch of guys in on loan.
Yep.
They went for it last year. I think what they will do is try to get what they can in this season, but in the January window, they'll be looking for those loans because remember the way the season's going to be structured. It's beyond stupid. So you're playing 23 matches in a league season. You'll have a champion. That'll run through like February-ish.
And
then you have like the Copa Superliga that is like a mini league. So you're going to play 11 matches and then a final in that if you win your group.
half a season.
So that's your that's your season as a whole. But Defensa will be in the Copa Libertadores for next season based off their past season's results.
That's correct.
So January, I think they will go and find everybody on loan they can possibly find for
Yamil
their
Assad.
Libertadores
Line
groups. They should go get Yamil Assad now.
They should.
Yeah,
Can you
really?
imagine Yamil Assad signs with our club, Defensa Justicia?
I would be getting that jersey
I would be
immediately.
finding some way to get the jersey.
There's got to be a way to link these two up on social media. Sit there and go, hey, at Yamil Assad, here's your club for you. And
That might be Yamil going
That-
to
AMR
catch
agrees.
the
That's
airport.
how quickly that DYJ needs to get him.
I like it. He can either go there or he can go sign for Club Atletico Atlanta.
To be fair, Gustavo warned me in advance when I was talking about teams. I said, "Hey, what about this Defensa Justicia side?" And Gustavo said, "Look, man, they're all loan players, and the manager's probably not going to be there."
Yeah.
So I said, "I don't care. I'm all in." And so yeah, I regret nothing. I burned my boats. Burn the boats. I'm all in.
Oh, man. The match of the weekend for me, I got to see a good bit of it. Velez and Newell's. Really good when Velez won 3-1 at home. Newell's, Maxi Rodriguez got a goal.
Saw this.
Is that guy does
He's
not age.
106 years old.
He's 38 years old. He's still scoring goals for Newell's Old Boys.
It's like Coming to America.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you know how old he is? He's 147 years old. What do you mean he's 147? Like that's exactly what it is with Maxi Rodriguez. That guy, he played in the World Cup was it 98?
He played in 2006 because he scored that goal against Mexico, off the chest and the volley from outside the area. It was 2006, I know. He might have played in 98. I don't know. I'm not sure.
He's been playing forever. Good on
Yes.
you, man. Just dodge the toilets from the Ultras.
Yeah. They're not going to throw him at him. He's a club legend.
Yeah.
Lucas Janssen, former Toronto FC forward, scored for Velez as well. And one guy to keep an eye on, Nicolas Dominguez. He's one of the young up-and-coming talents. He had 2 good goals, too. So there's your Argentina recap for the weekend. I did learn that I'm going to have to re-up on HBO on October 1st.
Why? No.
The
This is bad.
Maradona documentary
Oh,
debuts.
yes.
Yes.
October 1st.
I might need to steal your login because I'm about to cancel my HBO.
I already did, but I knew it was going to come back when they put this thing on the schedule. And, yeah, October 1st.
HBO. This is why I hate HBO, because they took me from Game of Thrones right into Chernobyl,
Yeah.
which I mean it's super heavy, right? I mean that's like if you put on your table of elements, like a periodic table where lead is like the heaviest elements, like Game of Thrones and Chernobyl are like right there next to it. But this right here, they might have suckered me into staying till October with that.
I mean, this one has. There's I'll retweet it here in just a second. A minute-long promo for it, and I mean, it's just epic. The producer who did this documentary is the one who did the Senna documentary and the Amy Winehouse documentary. Maradona in Italy, all the time at Napoli, winning the World Cup in '86, the fall from grace. Oh, it's going to be amazing.
The fall from grace into cocaine?
Yes, that too.
Copious amounts of cocaine.
We have a developing element from the Open Cup.
Okay.
The first qualifying round draw for USOC 2020
Oh,
was
they
held
did it
this afternoon.
Okay, so where are there 2 Atlanta teams? Georgia Revolution Reserves and Club Athletic from
Club
both from
Club Athletic?
Athletic,
Yeah.
I think is correct.
Athletic.
Athletic.
Yeah, Athletic.
Yes, I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, Club
They
ATL, capital letters, ETIC, lowercase.
It's stylized, but they both
Yeah.
play in the ADASL.
And they're playing each other.
Well, that makes sense from a travel perspective. I mean, it kind of stinks. You'd like to see them get a chance to play somebody different. So it'll be a local derby in the first round of qualifying.
Yes.
Do they know who the winner would play?
Not at the moment. Looks like they just posted the all teams listed first are the home teams. So Club Athletic is the home team.
Okay. I think I can't remember where they play out of. I want to say they play out of Southeast Athletic Complex, but I might be wrong.
Exact dates, times, locations to be announced tomorrow. Good luck to all the teams when local qualifying begins the weekend of September 21st and 22nd.
Very cool.
It's a phenomenal tournament. I want more documentaries of that. Of like these
Need
lower.
more.
These
I'm glad
mega
there wasn't a
lower-
documentary on our Atlanta FC team that made it to play the Battery
See, that would
in
have been-
2009,
Yes.
where we were jobbed by the
Oh,
referees.
goodness gracious.
Job.
This is Paul Harvey
No, I'm
territory.
not
Okay.
going into all of it. This is a family show.
So we are not willing to go there this time?
Not all of it, but when you
Here's your
step
Cliff's
out
notes.
on the field for your walkthrough, when you arrive at the stadium, and the referee crew separates you, the manager of the team, and the coach of the team, and walks like you walk with one referee, the coach walks with the rest, and they're both telling you like, oh, well, we heard about you guys at regionals, and you had all these red cards, and they were red cards from the run of play, like that's what they were. And you're like, well, we're not going to let any of that happen, and blah 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 blah. And then your captain gets headbutted by the opposing captain, and somehow your left back gets red carded in the whole melee.
This has shades of World Cup 2002.
Yeah, I could actually completely relate to your feelings about
All right.
the 2002 World Cup.
There we go.
Yeah, it was bad. The game ended with 8 players for Atlanta FC, manager in the stands. Yeah, it did not end well, but they were only able to win 2-0. And they were really going for it at the end when it was 8 because they were not happy about the way things had turned out.
Wow.
Yeah, it was nuts. And then there was beer at the hotel, lots of it. Because you had to drink that away, you know.
No, that's the only. No,
That's what you do.
No, you have to. That's one where you just kind of say, guys, The bar tab's going to be pretty high tonight, okay?
Yes.
Bar tab is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yes.
There's no FFP on the bar tab.
No.
That is what we call a write-off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those days. But it was a very cool thing for that team to qualify and get the experience. So hopefully, Georgia Revolution Reserves and Club Athletic, whoever gets through the local qualifier, they don't have that happen to them at some point in the tournament. And they do get to celebrate in a much better way.
Yes.
And have the bar tab.
Can we very quickly cover Austrian Bundesliga?
Wow.
Okay. I did not expect to go there.
We're
but yes,
going here right now.
We can.
Okay. So, Red Bull Salzburg.
I've heard of them.
Yeah. Jesse Marsch has completed the best ever start for a coach in our league. Never before has an Austrian Bundesliga coach won his first 5 Austrian Bundesliga matches. Now, get this, boys. Now, this is where it gets really good.
Okay.
Try a plus 19 goal differential.
All righty then.
The next closest, Lask, 7-point goal differential.
I'm not up on the Austrian Bundesliga and the quality of said league.
Look.
I know Red Bull Salzburg has loads of cash.
Well, they're putting it to work, and
Yes.
Our boy Marsh is handling the business. And I would like to. The only reason I bring this up is because I was under the assumption that our podcast makes it far and wide. Does it not?
It does.
Does it find its way to throughout the United States and Canada?
Yes.
It does.
Okay. Our man's Gustavo makes us officially an international.
And Andrew Baker, soccer listening in Germany.
Soccer
Yes.
listening in Germany. We have Argentina, Germany. I have family who tell me that they listen in Italy. I don't know.
Have they downloaded the app, by the way?
I don't know. We've yet to verify any of that. But I'm kind of I'd like to point that out to U.S. soccer that we have a manager who's doing some things overseas.
Oh,
And,
you're gonna be this guy.
I'm gonna be that guy.
I've seen this guy on all over the Twitters.
Yeah, 3GB. I'm sorry, I'm not sold on him.
Yeah,
I get
I've
it.
Seen
I know. You love
hire
the guy.
Jesse Marsch. No, I don't. I don't really love that, but I don't think the pressing style of Red Bull Soccer Group is the way. I just don't. Not with the national team.
Yeah, well, look, it's better than the 4D chess that 3GB's trying to install.
Oh no, trust me.
I mean, that's
I'm with
all I'm
you there.
saying. Like, we can find a happy medium between the two.
Yes, I think that's easily done.
That's all I'm going to say out there.
All right, so what's the update on Bolton?
It ain't good.
They passed financial fair play,
All right.
so that's good.
All right. Here is the deal with Bolton and Berry, and it is not good on either front. Right now, you're looking at noon Eastern time tomorrow as the deadline of deadlines for Bolton, unless, of course, they get another extension.
Deadline for what, though? What do they have to do?
They've got to prove to the EFL that they can pay their players and have a financial plan going forward through this year and beyond, and have an owner that can do it. Otherwise, liquidation starts Wednesday.
And what does that mean exactly?
It means that they cease to exist as a club.
But I thought they could keep playing.
They can, but their assets will be minimalized. Bits and pieces will be basically sold off to try to get things squared away. Here we go. Statement was released by the club, and I'm trying to get to the tail end of the deal here. The EFL have made their position clear by insisting on a 5 p.m. deadline on Tuesday for a deal to be completed to give compelling reasons for an extension. They've also written to everybody concerned in the process to underline that sense of urgency. On Sunday evening, there was some tentative dialogue, but we are still some way from reaching a solution. Therefore, the chairman is appealing to the parties. In just over 24 hours, the club will have its membership of the EFL revoked.
So sad.
Over and above that, the club is currently not in a position to carry on trading, and as such, the process of closing down the company will commence on Wednesday. This will ultimately lead to its liquidation, expulsion of the club from the EFL, and the inevitable loss of over 150 jobs. So until you have zero assets that are worthy of anything, in theory, you could continue to play.
Well, no, you're kicked out of the league, though. Like, you're not playing anything. You're kicked out of the league.
I know.
Would it be a walkover then?
I mean, I guess, because you've already
extra bye week?
started a schedule. I mean, it's the same thing we talked about when it came to Bury. Like, how do you logistically do this?
Bury is the easier one of the bunch because Bury hasn't played yet.
Yeah, I mean, sure. It doesn't matter if you've played once or 5 times or 0 times. Like, you already have a schedule. You're not redoing the schedule. So, like, both of them, all right, you kick them out. What does that do for just the logistics of the league before you even get into how ridiculously horrible it is for a club to go out of business because people can't run it properly?
What you would do, and this was with one team, so everybody was looking at this from the Bury variant, where because Bury hasn't played, you would have 23 teams in the league, you would play 44 matches, and it would be based on that when it comes to how you would finish in the season. Bury, for all intents and purposes, would be relegated at the end of the year even though their operations would cease. They would be the team at the bottom of the table. They would be relegated and blown out, basically. And then trying to figure out how to fill in the holes comes from the National League up to League 2. The number of promotion spots stays the same at 4, coming from League 2 to League 1, but trying to fill in the holes from behind for League 2 is the issue coming from the National League up to League 2.
It's absolutely mind-bending.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they're going to try to do everything possible for this to stay alive and get a deal done. But it sounds like with Bolton, there's only one credible bidder that they've approved.
And Bury claims to have someone discussing things for their salvation, but the prospective owners don't think they can get their due diligence done in time to meet the deadline so that can happen. Gustavo says that he is listening far away in the South Hemisphere, 5 kilometers from River Stadium, 15 kilometers from Boca.
But Gustavo's an Independiente fan. Don't forget that.
Gustavo!
But the bottom line is that both of them are in serious trouble. There are 4 options for Bolton. No deal, 145 years of history go down the drain. Administrators identified Ken Anderson as the absentee and the parties agreeing to deal the Celta Club to Bolton and the hotel on Friday night. Ken Anderson has wanted to get the club back basically for pennies at the pound from where he had them purchased when he was previous owner. And so what he wants to do is come back in, but he didn't have the financing in the first place when he was an owner, and that's why he sold when he was owner for the first time. But he wants back in at pennies for a pound. And he's pointing the finger at the solicitor who was responsible.
The solicitor?
Yeah, because Anderson was paired with a partner who has since passed, and Anderson is blaming his partner who has passed for all of the financial problems, not himself. Option 2, if Anderson is indeed at odds with the trust of that partner who has passed, and he succeeds in getting a commercial dispute, then that prolongs things a little bit. Then option 3, someone emerges, and we saw Stu Holden come on Twitter this afternoon and do a cheer of, hey, come on, let's get this done. Somebody go get this done, considering he played at Bolton.
Yeah, but you're just out of time.
Yeah, you are out of time.
But that's part of the game, though. If you wait to try to get pennies on the pound, so
and
you
that's
can buy
what you have here with Steve Dale,
Yeah.
who is trying to list himself as both a debtor and a creditor where Bury is concerned. The current owner wants to be paid. At one point over the weekend, he said, tell you what, if you guys can crowdfund 2.7 million pounds, I will walk away, and you guys can have it. 2.7 was what he thought his operating budget was going to be this season at Bury to get all the bills paid. He said, you pay me that, you crowdfund that over this weekend, I'll take that, I'll walk, and I'll sell the club. they're both a mess.
Yeah.
Neither individual, neither Ken Anderson nor Steve Dale have any business being owners in the Football League. It's a shame that the Football League waited this long to draw this out to this point.
That's also true.
And the EFL has consistently said, we'll look at this situation and analyze what went wrong here. You should have done due diligence all the way back several years ago, because there was a report that came out, I want to say in The Guardian, that the EFL actually was warned that clubs like Bolton and Bury were in financial trouble and that they needed to address it then, which was years ago, and not wait until things collapse, which they've done.
We'll see what happens tomorrow. So noon Eastern is the Bolton deadline.
Noon Eastern for Bolton, and shortly thereafter, I think Bury's is set for midweek.
Okay. We'll keep you posted on that. We'll keep you posted next week on Super Classico from Argentina. We'll keep you posted on the final weeks in league play. Oh, we have a little bit of breaking news. Well, not quite breaking, but yes. News that qualifies for soccer over there. Go ahead.
All right. Nashville FC agrees to a deal for German midfielder Hani Mukhtar, and this is from our good friends at The Athletic, Sam Seskal and Jeff Reuter. He's coming in from Brøndby, and that's a Danish club for anyone out there. Brøndby for 3 mil. That move's going to happen in January. He's a 24-year-old attacking midfielder, gentlemen. Stats were 22 goals, 27 assists in 94 career games. So this could be one of those boom-bust moves for Nashville FC.
Yeah, I think he was being looked at by a few other clubs as well. So not a bad signing there from Nashville. It's a different one, not one I really expected. Didn't think that's where they'd be shopping, but
you see Julian Gressel bombing away, trying to recreate that lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, that's true. That's a really unique situation. I don't think you're going to replicate.
No.
I'll be curious to see what happens with Nashville. We'll be talking about that and other news around MLS and U.S. Open Cup preview tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock on SDH. Next week on Soccer Over There, there'll be a lot of things leading up the first few weeks of the leagues, but going into the international break.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a weird spot for an international break, like in Italy, for example, where you've only played 2 games at that point. Spain, England will be a little bit further along. We'll kind of give you a synopsis of that. The transfer window closes next week.
Yeah. September 1, September 2.
September 2.
So we will discuss that, because there's still a lot of dominoes to fall, and it feels like if Neymar goes or if Eriksen goes, then things will start to fall for a lot of different clubs. There'll be a lot of trickle down. Yeah. We'll get into all that next week. Follow Nick Alifi. Follow OSG Nelson.
Check.
Follow Sock Over There. Follow Soccer Down Here. Follow me at Longshoe.
New programming tease as well.
Go ahead.
Because of this show, it's directly tied to it.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yes. So, you want me to talk about
Sure.
it? Oh, okay. Oh, I'll toot my own horn then. Thank
all right,
you very
Arn
much,
Anderson.
sir. Toot. All right, so.
There you go.
There you go.
Your freaking horn right there.
That's right. That's how you call down the thunder. Well, you got it. All right, so I will be later this week giving you guys my picks of the games of the week to watch for the leagues over there.
Over there.
So
and that's part of it. We get Jessica Sharman is going to be doing her part as well, letting everybody know what's going on with the Prem, with the championship, and anything else on her mind. Basically, think of it as Soccer Over There countdown to kickoff.
There we go.
Oh, nice. I like it. I'm going to have to work-shop that name. I don't know if that one sticks or not.
You mean like College Game Day, but with talent and purpose?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Wow. All righty then. We've just really made friends with ESPN today.
Hey, look, I have friends that work at ESPN who work very hard, but you guys got to clean some stuff up. I love you dearly, but you got to clean it up.
Error.
Ay, Dios mío. All right. We'll be back in the morning with SDH. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Mucha Euro y'all.
Thanks to the Brewhouse for hosting us.
Oh, so fantastic.
All the Lyra.
See y'all next week.